مصلحا ومجددا فارنوا بنظر طاهر وجناني.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, dear viewers. With us today we have our beloved brother Aziz from South Africa, and today we will hear about his journey and how he found Islam Ahmadiyyat. Assalamu alaikum, dear brother.
Walaikum salam.
So our first question is, what is your name and background, and then you can explain how you found Islam Ahmadiyyat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. My name is Aziz Abdul Latif, and I'm from Cape Town, South Africa. And my religious background is I come from a Sunni background, and I was brought up as a Sunni Muslim. And my journey to Ahmadiyyat started when I was 17 years old. Now, my father always instilled in me to read the Holy Quran daily. So my first language is Afrikaans and my second language is English. So he would buy a copy of the Holy Quran in Afrikaans. So I would read it daily in the evenings after Isha, and that would become a very good habit that stayed with me. So one evening late, as I was reading the Quran, specifically Surah Al-Kahf, and from that I understood that the Mahdi alayhi salam has arrived, and I was so excited by finding this in the Holy Quran and in the Hadith that I also read a lot, that I went to my father, and that was about midnight. And I knocked at his door and I said, Father, with excitement, I think the Mahdi has come. According to the Quran and the Hadith, the Mahdi has come. He said, did you wake me up with this nonsense? Go back to sleep. And afterwards, he would make fun of me because being so excited and telling him the Mahdi has come. Now imagine a lad of 17 years old, no guidance. You go to your father and you ask him about the Mahdi, and he thinks that this kid is mad. So then I decided that I will now search for the Mahdi myself. How I went about it is that I was in love with the Quran, and so I thought the best way now for me is to get me a teacher that can teach me the Quran by heart. I enrolled myself. I left school actually, and I enrolled myself in a Hifz class to learn the Quran by heart. And in that Hifz class, my teacher would every day tell me something about Ahmadiyyat. He would say that Ahmadis is kufr. They are out of the fold of Islam. And when you go into the mosque, on the floor, there's a circle with the name of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, which is inscribed on the floor. And when they enter the mosque, their feet is being dragged over the name of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. So bad this people is. So never come in contact with these people, never speak to these people. As you can remember, in the time there was a Lahori Ahmadi case in Cape Town. So he was that teacher of mine was the main instigator in that Ahmadi case. So he would show us photographs of the senior members of the Jamaat of Cape Town and say, this is very dangerous people, don't speak to them, don't go to them, don't even inquire, don't ever speak to them because they are very dangerous. So I also thought that how could these people be so dangerous? And I would then, after that, I would then get married, and I would still remember that. Now my second step was I knew I need to take bayah. So I enrolled in another person's class, and he told me of this guy that was in town. He was from Egypt, and he belonged to the Ahmadiyyat sect, and he was going to give the Friday sermon in our locality. And the only thing I knew, I know nothing about bayah, but I knew when you want to accept the Prophet ﷺ, the first thing you need to do is you need to take bayah. So I went to this guy, and before the Friday sermon, I would ask him, "Can I see you? Because I want to take bayah." He looked at me and said, "I don't have time now, but after the Jumu'ah Salah, we can meet and we can talk." So after Jumu'ah Salah, I was sitting there almost until Asr, and he didn't pitch. That was it. So years, about 2, 3, 4, 5 years went by, and I found some pamphlets in my in-laws' house that directed me to the mission house in Athlone, and the mission in charge there was Rashid Yahya Sahib. And that day I bought the 5-volume commentary of the Quran, and I bought quite some books of the Prophet alayhi salam. When I read the books, I was quite astonished by the Prophet alayhi salam's claims, because we as Sunnis believe that there is no continuation of prophethood, and Khatam al-Nabiyyin would mean the last prophet, and there's no more prophets to come. So that's stuck into my heart, and that's stuck into my brain. So, and the other thing that stuck into my brain is that Jesus alayhi salam is alive in heaven, and he's coming back, and all this other stuff that Sunnis believe. So I needed to undo this now. I could understand all the arguments of the Prophet ﷺ, but what stuck by me is the continuation of prophethood, and that the Prophet ﷺ is actually a prophet. So I then would take, I remember I then would take every evening, I would take his picture and look at him as if I'm qualified in this. I would look at him and say, can this be a truthful prophet? So that went on for quite some years. So I frequented the mission house, and then the Murabi Sahib said, "You need to take bayah," and then I took the bayah. That was in 2001. What I then was completely convinced of the Prophet ﷺ's writings and arguments. And in 2001, when I took the bayah, I also spoke to my brothers, and they also accepted Ahmadiyyat. So this one incident, when my brother accepted Ahmadiyyat, his wife was about 9 months pregnant, and the ulama, the Mulvi, said that now this is to my brother now, Imran Sahib, now your marriage is null and void, so you have to come see us. So my brother said, "Look here, Aziz, we need to go to the movies because they have annulled my marriage now." And we went there, and the mission in charge that time, Rashid Yahya said, "Abdulaziz," I thought he was going with, so he said, "Abdulaziz, you are enough for them." I thought, what nonsense is that? Maybe he's scared to go because I don't have. I just read the books of the Prophet ﷺ, and what knowledge do I have of debating with such scholars? To the contrary, afterwards, and we went there, and the first argument we had, 12 of them were sitting in front of us, and the first argument we had is that Ahmadis in Cape Town is so few. How can you be right? And my counter argument would be that the Christians is so much, and you as Muslims in Cape Town is so few. How can you be right? So they said, "Abdulaziz, don't be technical now. This is utter nonsense. We're turning this whole conversation into Arabic, and if you cannot speak the language Arabic, this debate is over." So the main movie, take his hands and hit it on the desk and say, "Abdulaziz, you are kufr. I declare you kufr, out of the fold of Islam." And if I didn't know your family, I would have made it very, very difficult for you in Cape Town. And don't think that you can spread like West Africa, where Ahmadi spread. This is Cape Town, and we are the protectors of Islam in Cape Town. So then we left. My brother, my eldest brother also accepted Ahmadiyyat. My wife also accepted Ahmadiyyat. My in-laws also accepted Ahmadiyyat, alhamdulillah. And that time when I accepted Ahmadiyyat and read the books of the Prophet, I was eager to do tabligh on a daily basis. I was so eager. And this went on for a long time. And then now, now that I fully read the books of the Prophet Messiah, of the continuation of prophethood, that Allah speaks and the response to the supplication in real time, alhamdulillah, I was a recipient of all these blessings, alhamdulillah. My first encounter was one evening. I heard a voice that said, Abdul Aziz, I am Allah, I am present. I didn't know what struck me that night. My mind was full of doubts. I was thinking, what am I hearing now? What is this? But alhamdulillah, this continued for weeks after that, and alhamdulillah, till today it continues. So it removes all the doubt. And when I pray, what the uniqueness of Ahmadiyyat for me is, when I pray, you have a reaction in real time where God answers you. Like just one example, that when I prayed in my sujood, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would respond to Abdul Aziz, your prayer has been accepted. So this for me is true faith. This for me is what I was seeking, or what people are seeking out there. Certainty of faith. That was in response also to my prayers and the true dreams, alhamdulillah. Ahmadiyyat is a living faith. Ahmadiyyat is doesn't just make these claims. In 2004, my life began a downward spiral in a dark space. In 2004, my son died, Anwar. And the neighbors would say, and my family would say, the reason your son died is because you accepted Ahmadi Islam. You need to renounce this faith because this is a curse of God. And I can remember that time, the only counsel I received was from the Prophet ﷺ in a dream, where he says, when he hugged me and counseled me, and for a long time this went on. And before the closing of the dream, he would present me with a container of water and say, Abdul Aziz, go heal the people. This is a significant dream which you will see later on in my journey. Then in 2007, my daughter Firdaus died of cancer, and now the onslaught of the neighbors and my family was even more, because now they said, Abdul Aziz, this is now final, because now you can see you definitely cursed, because now you have lost 2 children. So if you cannot open your eyes now, we don't know what. But how can I leave Ahmadiyyat if I have certainty of faith? And they could not understand this. They never understand this. That time I was into the 4th Khalifa. May Allah raise his status in heaven. May Allah be pleased with him. I still remember all the question and answers. I was day and night. All is what I know of Islam, what I know of Ahmadiyyat, what I know of the Quran is all through the 4th Khalifa. May Allah be pleased with him. And it gave you such superior knowledge that even if I had debates with Arabs, they couldn't stand these debates, because that was all knowledge passed on by the 4th Khalifa. And even my uncle that studied in Medina for years, he would say, when we have debates, you would say, Abdulaziz, your Arabic is superior than mine. I don't understand Arabic anymore. Your Arabic is superior. How did you learn all this? And I would tell him that this was the blessings of Khilafat that passes on this knowledge to us. And also the fourth Khalifa, I've learned homeopathy from him, and I would then dispense homeopathic medicine to my family and friends. And this is where the dream previously I told you about the Prophet Messiah, where he gave me this container of water and say, "Oh, Aziz, go heal the people." So from time to time, when I administer some homeopathic medicines to people, a day or two, I will have a dream. And in that dream would reveal to me what medicine to administer, alhamdulillah, from time to time. So this is a great blessings also of Khilafat or Ahmadiyyat. I went to the Germany Jalsa the first time. It was supposed to be in the UK, but that was swine flu, and so it was held in Germany. And I met the fourth Khalifa for the first time. At the Jalsa, I could see real Islamic brotherhood. I could see real Islam. And this is what all the years what I yearned for. And I could remember sitting, waiting for the Khalifa. And I would say, I'm going to ask him this, I'm going to have this conversation with him. But when I entered the room and my eyes fell on the blessed face of Hazrat Khalifa Masih, the fourth, Bezatai Ahmad, may Allah be pleased with him. I could not say a word. I was amazed. I was standing now in the company of the representative of God. And that feeling, I can still feel it now. And that feeling was so overwhelmed that I just wanted to be near him. After that, I just wanted to be close to him. Any distance would make me feel very uncomfortable. I went to that extent that when I arrived home, I sold my house because my wife's grandfather, we heard that he was from the British, he was a British citizen. So we could have ancestral visa. So I sold my house to live in London near the Khalifa to be able to pray behind him. So that didn't work out. So that was how this attraction was for Khilafat. It's still there till today. I would tell my children that Khilafat is so important that if your life, your livelihood, everything you own, you must put Khilafat above that. I remind them every day of this fact. And I hope, inshallah, they can also be close to Khilafat one day. I also had the privilege to go to the Jalsa, to the UK Jalsa in 2006 and meet Huzuri Anwar Ayallahu Ta'ala bin Aziz. And I had a great privilege to meet him. And alhamdulillah, over all these years, I was writing to our Khulafa, and never, and very seldom the private secretary would return the letters. I'm also lucky in this lockdown that I received now 2 weeks back a letter from Huzur Anwar Ayalullah bin Aziz, and it was signed by himself. Alhamdulillah, I'm lucky in this sense. My stepfather would always say that Abdul Aziz, if he can leave Ahmadiyyat, he will be the best person. And he would tell my mother, he would abuse me day and night for years. He would swear at me and come to my face as he wanted to crush me, like you would take something and come forcefully to me, and I would sit dead still. And he would say that this is the trick of Ahmadiyyat. They teach the adherents to be so respectful, and so through this respect, people will accept Ahmadiyyat. And nobody can be so respectful for years and take this abuse for years. This is impossible. This must be the trick that Ahmadiyyat teaches the adherents. And my aunt as well, she would say her children is drug addicts. Everything you can think about that is wrong, her children does it. And she would tell my mother that my children is the worst people, but I feel better because your children is Ahmadis. And now I feel better because they are worse. I can remember one of our kids, he was so in drugs, he could not even breathe. I used to take homeopathy medicines to him. And the days after, his wife would tell me that this, alhamdulillah, this is the first time he could breathe normally now on his own. On his own, this was his condition before he died. May Allah raise his position and forgive him his sins. So for me, Ahmadiyyat, like I tell my children, I cannot teach you Islam. You must experience Islam. You must experience every facet of Islam. You cannot read it in a book or just something in a book or in some pages. It's real life. It's the way of life. So inshallah, I hope they will one day stay fast and hold fast to the rope of Khilafat, inshallah. What does Khilafat mean to me? Khilafat, under Khilafat, the greatest blessings is the prayers of Khilafat. His prayers is answered the most by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second Khalifa, may Allah be pleased with him, said that if Allah raises a person to the status of Khilafah, Allah accepts his prayers more than anyone else. In fact, more than any individual. So with this great blessings, it gives us security, it gives us spiritual strength, it gives us this ability to move and progress as Islam. And for me, it's just to have this strong link with Khilafah, whether it's through writing letters to Khilafah, whether it is to pray behind the Khalifa, whether it is to live near the Khalifa, whether it is to say just on a daily basis, Labayk, oh Khalifa, we are at your service. For everything the Khalifa of the time require of us. That is my story, alhamdulillah.
Jazakallah, dear brother. Really, really inspiring and really important for all of us to have such strong faith like yourself. I want to ask you that, how would you say Ahmadiyyat has changed your life? Because before Ahmadiyyat, you were a Sunni Muslim. So how has your life changed ever since you have accepted Islam, Ahmadiyya?
Even since I accepted Islam, Ahmadiyyat, every day was a progressing day in certainty of faith. And it is not like the Sunni Islam. If Ahmadiyyat makes a statement, it can back that statement with proof. And I can see from experience that we can reach God through this writings of the Prophet ﷺ. He made it clear to us, and he gave us direction to move towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to have a better understanding of the Quran and the Holy Prophet ﷺ, and a better understanding of ourselves. My peers or my family would say, Abdul Aziz, since you have accepted Ahmadiyyat, we see no monetary value, you being richer or so. I said, no, Ahmadiyyat don't give you money. In fact, you need to sacrifice from your earnings to be a part of that Jamaat. What they cannot see is the invisible part. We have the connection with God. We as Ahmadi Muslim, we can see tomorrow. Alhamdulillah, I'm blessed to have a lot of dreams. If I'm in difficulty, if I want to know something, if I don't understand something, it is being taught to me, or I find the understanding in the books of the Prophet. If I don't understand that, I have a dream, and this understanding becomes clear. And a lot of times, it is being revealed to me through dreams how my tomorrow will be. What is my direction today? and tomorrow and in the future, alhamdulillah. So if I'm in any difficulty, that difficulty will be realized and resolved by prayer. We have such a great blessings of Khilafat, and if Khalifa prays for you, you can say like it's money in the bank. It's a done deal. Your prayer will be accepted. So if you want X, Y, Z, or you have a spiritual problem, or you have a difficulty in any way, and you write to the Khalifa of the time, that burden is lifted from you immediately. And this is what other Muslims and other people don't have.
Jazakallah, dear brother, and if you can give a message to the anti-Ahmadis and the opponents of Islam in general of why they should accept Islam Ahmadiyyat and how it can change their life.
Okay, for Muslims, I would say a lot of books of the Prophet is now being published in English and is available for you to read and not to hear from your mullahs or your movies what Ahmadiyyat is. You need to take yourself, go to a mission house, go online and search and yourself read the books of the Promised Messiah salam, by yourself. The other thing, my advice would be is you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so you should ask your God to guide you through to the true Islam and not ask your mullah gods to guide you to the true Islam. For non-Muslims, for the Muslims as well, for non-Ahmadis, anomalies has creeped into Islam over centuries. And these anomalies can only be rectified by a person sinned by God. So we believe this person is Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian alayhi salam, and there was no other claimant to this. And according to the hadith, he would come into the 14th century after Hijrah, and we have reached the 15th century now. So God forbid we're saying that Allah forget about his promise that he's going to send the guide, he's going to send the Imam Mahdi in the 14th century, and we have already reached the 15th century. So now the Jews had the same problem. They waited for Prophet Jesus alayhi salam to descend for their Messiah to descend from heaven, and he never descended, and they're going to wait forever. And this will be the same problem for the Muslims. Or if you are waiting for the Mahdi to come or Jesus alayhi salam to descend, you will wait forever. For the non-Muslims and the Muslims alike, non-Ahmadis alike, I would say, turn to your God. You have a creator. Don't ever forget you have a creator. And if you turn to your God, surely I'm assured that he will lead you to the true Islam. He will lead you to salvation. So it is that easy.
Jazakallah, dear brother. Another question we have for you is that what message would you give to the Christians? Why should they accept Islam Ahmadiyyat?
The Christians should look at their Bible and look at the way they believe in the Creator and not make this, the promised Messiah alayhi salam has come to create this one community to teach the oneness of God. So if you can turn to your original teachings from Jesus Christ alayhi salam himself, that he teaches the oneness of God, and here the promised Messiah alayhi salam, the claimant to being the Messiah in this age, is teaching the oneness of God. And you can come back to the oneness of God. And the only way you can come back to that oneness of God now is going through the mission of the promised Messiah alayhi salam. So his mission was to gather all people into one group under the banner of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and to teach man the rights of God and the rights of mankind. So we need to bring that back again. And the only people or only teaching that brings that back is Islam, and not just any Islam. It is the true Islam, Ahmadiyyat Islam. So you need to search also online. Like I said, there's a lot of books online available of the Prophet alayhi salam, and it will guide you through this process. It is not a difficult process. It's a few books to read, and you can then see for yourself what is the guidance that needs to be followed if you are a truthful person.
Dear brother, which books in specific of Hazrat Ahmad alayhi salam did you read before accepting Islam Ahmadiyyat?
The books I read before I accept Islam Ahmadiyyat was Philosophy of the Peaceful Islam, a very brilliant book. It taught me Nafsul Amara, Nafsul Lawama, Nafsul Mutama'inna. So this very great teaching taught me everything I had to know about myself. It taught me where in this nafs, am I nafsul lawama, am I nafsul amara, am I nafsul mutama'inna, how long, what stage. It is very important to see, to know at what level of spirituality you are to reach a stage of the soul at rest, because we all are in search of this. And this book of the Prophet ﷺ just answers every question I had about religion, I had about the world, I had about God, I had about prophets. It answers all. I think if you read this book from cover to cover, there is no other question that will stay unanswered.
Jazakallah, dear brother. And sometimes we have some atheists watching as well who are looking for the truth, and some agnostics as well. So if you have a message for them as to how they can find Allah the Almighty.
Like I always said, the proof is in the pudding. If we're going to discuss on a educational or philosophical basis, we can discuss till we are blue in our eyes. So the best thing, like the Prophet also said this, come live with me, come to our community, come to Ahmadiyyat, and then we show you the creator. Let we show you how to find that creator. So people that not believe in God is because of their upbringing. If you are raised as the Hindu, or you are raised as an atheist, you're gonna want to protect that belief, because it was your forefathers' beliefs. So we as Ahmadis, we as Islam, give you that opportunity to rethink your forefathers' religion or your forefathers' ways, and mended ways to what is right.
Jazakallah, dear brother. Really, really inspiring story. In the end, if you can share some important points as to why the Muslim Ummah today needs a Khalifa.
You see, the Muslims today is in a very bad situation. Very bad in the sense that if any other community hears the name Muslim Islam, they are abhorred by this, for the simple reason that Islam don't have any leadership. They run around like headless chicken. There's no spiritual progress. There's no protection. There's no understanding of Islam. So if you don't have understanding of Islam, if you don't have this spiritual upliftment, you need to have, like the Quran says, you need to have we need to have a leader, as we had a leader in the time of the Holy Prophet ﷺ when he passed away, to unite ourselves. And we can see from the progress of Ahmadiyyat and other Muslims, there's a vast difference. We are a small group, and our means are meager. But what we are doing with our meager means and what we're doing as a small group is far. The Muslims cannot do even that in 1,000 years. That will be my advice.
Jazakallah, dear brother. In the end, we thank you for your precious time and we pray for all viewers that Allah the Almighty guides them to the true Islam, Islam Ahmadiyyat. Once again, dear brother, Jazakallah for your time. May Allah bless you and guide all Muslims to the true Islam, Islam Ahmadiyyat. Ameen. Assalamu Alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
If you have not yet subscribed, make sure to subscribe and click on the bell icon so you can get notifications for every new video. Also make sure to like and comment on the video and follow on Twitter and Instagram.
سفينا صل على محمد